go ahead.
On a 3 count. 1, 2, 3.
Well, she started about February.
Texas Wheel, in its 2 years of existence, has made dramatic progress in improving the conditions of working women in the state. As a result, various business leaders.
They moved here, just December, a year ago December. And she came to her first wheel meeting, I think, the end of January or February.
When I say we, I mean this entire nation is involved with its enthusiasm, and I say that by having just spent about 11 weeks touring around the country talking to people.
Before and all your experience of talking to people, walking and talking?
I've had a lot of different interviews. I guess you could classify this as a...
I think you were delayed because of the weather or something?
Yeah, we were, well...
One, we still have problems with the plan. Same problems that we've been dealing with for the last 2 or 3 days. And I'm not sure yet. We're going to wait until the plan is ultimately developed and the order is actually entered by the court, and then we'll review it for all it's worth at that point and make decisions that need to be made at that point.
Inspector of Elections for this meeting. Mrs. Freeze is executive 30,000 barrels a day. In the Eastern Hemisphere. Nor
Well, what it amounts to is that in the satellite schools, which is in the 16 black communities, the first graders and second graders will be having their courses. They'll be mixed. In other words, the black and white children will be on a mix of approximately 2.5 to 1, or something on this particular ratio. Arithmetic, reading, writing, spelling, mathematics, music, art, social studies, their free play, and their lunch. We're doing this now in 4 of the 6 clusters, and it's working very well. And this way we can have the integration which meets the requirements of the NAACP and also of the courts. We can also not have to bus first grade children.
Pretty happy.
Jump out of the way. Okay, right here.
The Dallas low-lead gasoline ordinance was passed in April of last year. The idea was to give local enforcement to federal regulations. Under the city's ordinance, all major distributors are to have at least one low-lead gas pump by January of next year, and by 1977, all pumps are to have gasoline with a reduced lead content. But the people who check air pollution in Dallas say the ordinance has had little, if any, effect on lead emissions. Their tests show the lead level in the air is about the same now as it was before.
Our studies show that the total gas consumption of low-lead gasoline represents approximately 10% of the total volume. And the benefits reaped from this is offset by the increased vehicular growth rate.
But gasoline consumption by vehicles today in the Dallas-Fort Worth area is nothing compared to what it will be tomorrow. Studies indicate that within the next couple of decades, the number of vehicles will more than triple. And that's one of the main reasons why it's so important to have regulations governing low-lead gas. Jack Hill, Channel 8 News on the Move.
For years, Texaco has been giving a subsidy to some of its service stations that want to stay open 24 hours a day to help them make up the cost during the nighttime hours. But late last week, letters were sent to those stations saying that the company would no longer help with those nighttime expenses. And some of the station operators are unhappy about it. One of them is Tommy Hudson, who operates a station here at Lovers Lane and Central Expressway. What does the loss of that money from Texaco mean to you and the operation of your station?
Well, I couldn't truthfully say. I mean, that was what I was told when I come here, that I would get a night allowance, and I've always had it, and something that you've always had is kind of hard to get rid of it. And me and my family's got our life based around that, about what I make here, and it's kind of hard to take $600 a month away from your salary.
Tommy said he thinks that the company could have met him halfway. Maurice Granville, chairman of the board of Texaco, said that it was a voluntary contribution that the company feels is no longer in its best interest to make. You get the impression that the company feels like elimination of that subsidy may help them overcome some of the critical gasoline supply problems this summer. Meanwhile, Granville reported record high profits for first quarter of 1973 at a shareholders meeting at the Fairmont Hotel in Dallas today. I asked him how Texaco and other oil companies could make high profits during a time of such trouble in the petroleum industry.
Actually, much of the improvement in the performance of the oil companies seems to have been overseas, both the increased production overseas, increased refining and sales, and improved prices. We have had some improvement in prices in the U.S., but these have not been substantial. We've been limited by the phase 1, 2, and 3 controls. We still remain limited, And this, of course, is one of the problems that we face today in getting additional supplies from overseas by importing.
But you still report record profits.
Well, they are record profits, but they're still inadequate.
Granville today wholeheartedly endorsed President Nixon's energy policy, which was outlined last week. Oh, and incidentally, there was another penny added to this and some other gasoline pumps today. This is Roger McDonald, Channel 8 News on the Move.
Well, if the good Lord's willing, Vern, I maybe get lucky and pull out of there this week. But, you know, I've never been a good mudder. I just hope it quits raining, you know. We've had a lot of rain here, but I think the course is going to be in excellent shape.
Lee, you know that's going to come sometime, the $1 million. How important is it to you to get it this week?
Well, you know, I'd like to get it here, you know, coming from Dallas, my hometown, and I would like to officially become a millionaire, you know. I've made quite a bit more than that, but officially, you know, nobody knows that. But this is the thing that this is something that I would like to get. But you know, that was one of my goals when I first started playing professional golf, is to become a millionaire. And when I achieve this goal, then I probably have to make something else. You know, I don't know.
Well, you know, I got a note from somebody who's a fan of yours just the other day that indicated you're going to be a doctor of laws at New Mexico State University too, an honorary doctorate degree.
Hell, that don't mean anything. That'll just cover up another crack in the wall. That's all. It's like all the plaques and everything else I've got. You know, you chew them all up and try to sell them, you may be able to get a cup of coffee with them. It doesn't make any difference. I like those checks with money in them. That's what I like.
Lee, have you had a chance to go around the course at all yet?
No, I just flew in. My wife and I and my son flew in about noon, and I was working up on some clubs, and I've got my old clubs back, and I was putting some grips on up in the locker room, and then we're just going to go out and map the course out and see what happens.
You say, though, that you're not a mudder, so you're a little concerned about the weather.
Well, I've never been able to play in the mud well because I hit down into the ball too much. But I don't think if we don't have any more rain, I think by Thursday it should be good.
No, I don't think so. I think that any job, if you're going to do it well, it requires money to open an office and things like this. We had a little dry run try with our financial drive, and this is a response we received from the community. They said yes, they would support us. They gave us contributions, and this is what form they'd like us to see us take. So yes, I feel optimistic about raising funds.
Calls for wage increases of 42 cents per hour effective May 1st, 1973, and an additional 42 cents per hour increase effective on May 1st, 1974, for all skilled craftsmen.
Well, I don't think it'll have any great effect. The cutbacks in the program that we're seeing now have really been decided upon a couple years ago. And the question we get asked is not the question you're asking, how does the cutbacks affect the program, but it's why are we cutting back and why are not we going back to the moon? And this is what people really want to know. They want to know why we're slowing down like we are now, because their interest is truly exciting and truly rewarding.
Go ahead.
Well, the administration has always told us to come up with facts, Bob, and so I personally got 12 tickets where a city employee in the inspection department was doing subcontract work for the contractors. He was signing the tickets on the time that he was being paid by the taxpayers, driving a city vehicle, and I'd taken these tickets down and gave them to the city manager. There was proof, in my opinion, without a shadow of a doubt. Well, the man didn't even stop doing the subcontracting work. As late as the last few weeks, he's still doing the same job. Well, I think this is a conflict of interest, to say the least.
Board President John Plath Green announced today the appointment of Ben Nidecken, presently City Attorney from Abilene, as DISD's in-house attorney. Although the new lawyer's salary will be $24,500, the trustees feel that by letting him do the day-to-day legal counsel and background investigation for trials, the board's annual legal fees in excess of $100,000 can be diminished. The administration's trial lawyers, such as Warren Whittam, will be paid only for actual courtroom work.
When you have the years.
Foundations for money?
Yes. The nation. I would encourage as many board members.
I mean, go ahead. Marguerite.
One place. How does it compare with previous years?
little thing, isn't it?
Beautiful.
Very dainty.
Beautiful.
Very dainty. Oh, let's crush that out.
Hello there. That's nice. What were you going to do with this? Put this in the gag reel? Would you go down and say hello to my wife? She's standing right down,
no.
just a little, about 20 feet down the way. What's your name? Diane. Welcome to Byron Nelson.
I would call your attention to a positive contributor in the new framework. This portends quite an agreeable and worthwhile project to develop a bill, to develop proposed policy statements, as these will be required.
They are, and say it is difficult. But what meaning?
Shortly after noon today, the Army cheered its leader, Arnold Palmer, as he stepped to the first tee. Arnie's applause was overshadowed only by his amateur partner in the Pro-Am, Bob Hope, who thought everything was just fine. Several foursomes thereafter was the man for whom the tourney is named, Dallas' own Byron Nelson. Nelson's partner for the event was astronaut Eugene Cernan, who told the gallery after Nelson shot, "Once a pro, always a pro." And while all this was going on, back near the clubhouse came Channel 8's Old Pro, who must still be on the course. This is Jerry Park for Channel 8 at the Byron Nelson Golf Tournament.
Delegates at this convention charge that handicapped children have as much right to a public education as so-called normal children, but aren't always getting it. They're angry that 1 million severely handicapped children are going without an education because many public schools will not accept them, and that several million more are attending schools not really designed for them. Many delegates are also disgruntled with the Nixon administration for cutbacks in federal funds to special education. Lobbyist Fred Weintraub told me the council is launching a massive campaign to get handicapped children out of the crib and into school.
We're going to have to be able to have a force of people here in Dallas who can, if a child is excluded from an education, if the schools refuse to provide appropriate education for children, who are going to mobilize to stop it. If that means going to court, we're going to go to court. If it means going to the legislature, we're going to go there. If it means the school board, we're going to go there. The public has got to be kept aware, kept appraised of the fact that the schools are failing a lot of children.
The goal of that campaign is the zero rejection rate, where no child is denied an education simply because he can't compete with the majority of other children. Martha McIntyre, Channel 8 News on the Move at the Exceptional Children Convention in Dallas.
That we're crowded together in big cities, go to big schools, we're in big political parties, we work in big factories, and life has no more meaning than the bowling team. And I have nothing against bowling, I just like golf better. For 1900 and some years, we have been attempting to find meaning. In fact, we've just gone through the Easter season. I'm not a theologian, I'm purely a practical pastor, but if the cross means anything, it means that there is meaning in suffering.
Girls down there. Hey, Foley, have we got any HECE girls?
We're moving into a budget item that is quite high, and I think it's very incumbent upon us to inquire as to how we can cut down our legal costs and at the same time maintain adequate, competent legal advice.
And the great $42 million air conditioning controversy flared up again. Most of today's meeting was taken up with discussing the TAB system, a system some engineers feel is adequate, other people think is deficient, and some, mainly Dr. Emmett Conrad, don't think it's been properly studied, and most people don't understand. In other words, there is a difference of opinion. However, the board did vote to advertise for more air conditioning bids and take action on others. For Channel 8 News on the Move, this is Judy Hanna at the Dallas School Administration Building.
Where's the kit?
set. Yeah, forget it.
Don Steele says that you were transferred from